Here we are again for Trigger Tuesdays, and it's February 4th, 2020. I
Triggered.
think this is episode 12. I could be wrong, but
Super Bowl edition.
I'm just going to go with it. Yes, Super Bowl edition. So let's just jump right into the topics right now. I'm going to share my screen for these two trash cans so they can see what I can see. And the first topic of the week is the reviews for J2 Games are in. And J2 Games
Oof.
is a store that opened in Clark, New Jersey this past Thursday. So they've only been open one weekend. So they have some stock. They look pretty set up to me. And Mark and I did see it in person. We were there for, I'm going to say, over an hour, scanning the store up and down. So I'll take it first. Mark, what are your thoughts and opinions, and then I'll share mine, and we'll comment on other public opinions, I guess.
Yeah, well, after walking through the store, obviously, like I agree with you. I think we were there easy hour. Um, my personal opinion was I didn't think it was as bad as people were saying. Um, but I think I can understand what people are saying. I think mainly going into pricing because I think the biggest, and correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, I think the biggest issue I was hearing was the pricing. And I did see some things that were grossly overpriced and then other things that were, pretty much on point, maybe a little overpriced. Um, I'll give you a few examples of things that, hit me hard. Um, Marvel versus Capcom for the Dreamcast. I saw that was in the case. And I believe that is and again, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys can leave comments. I think that's a roughly $100 game, give or take. And I think I saw it in the case. And Paul, what was it, 170, I want to say?
Yeah, I think it
In the
was
actual
like,
case or in one of those J2 cases?
No, it was in the actual case. And I'll get into that a little bit, and then I'll let Paul elaborate a little bit. It was in an actual jewel case. It was original. Everything was there. But I think I saw it for $169.99, which, again, that's grossly overpriced. That game in perfect minty condition, just for the sake of argument, we could say $120, and that's like high end. I think realistically it goes for $90 to $100. And again, people can leave their comments. That's just from looking at
correct.
sold listings, and I don't even know what's price charting have that on, Paul.
Well, I just did. There's a buy it now. You can buy it right now for $94 shipped, and
Right,
you're right. Everything is pretty much 90 across the board. The only
right.
thing I saw close to the price that you listed was a sealed copy.
Okay.
And price charting has CIB price 94.99,
Right. So let's call it $100 for sake of
And it's not
argument.
like a variant or something like that? Like,
No,
no,
it's just it was a regular. So again,
which was a mass-produced game. It's not rare at all.
that shot out to me. It was a big shot. Like that was a big wow factor for me. So there was some things like that were grossly overpriced. Then there were some other things that were pretty much on point, and I think I'll get into a little bit, and maybe Paul can go on to his, where I'm thinking he's getting his pricing from, as far as supply, demand, what he thinks is going to move quick. And then, Dave, I'll add to your point. One thing that we noticed is it looks like what he does is he makes custom art cases for any loose cartridges that come into the store, whether it be NES, Genesis. Instead of putting loose carts on the shelf, he'll make a simple clamshell case with some artwork that's probably from like a art project or something to that effect. Um, I was getting into this a little bit. I could understand that if it was a $20, $30 game. It actually looks nicer, I agree with, than having a bunch of loose cartridges just sitting on a shelf. But is it cost effective, right? If you have Barbie for the NES, you're not going to sell it, right? So it's a $3 game, $5 game, whatever. Now you're spending the time to make a case for it. Um, is it cost effective to make a case, wasting time, wasting ink, wasting, even if he pays $1 for the case, you're adding $1.50, $2 to the cost of the cartridge that's going to sit on your shelf forever. Again, Madden, NBA Live, stuff like that. Is it worth making cases for those types of game? I would say from a business aspect, no. Does it look nicer? Yes, but again, you're losing money in that. But if you get a Contra, if you get a game, a Mike Tyson Punch Out, I could see where it looks nicer on a sales standpoint. And again, guys can get into that a little bit, what your thoughts are. But overall, I don't think it was as bad, but there were some things that were grossly overpriced, and I could see where people would be turned off. What people need to understand when they have stores is they need to make it enticing. I could tell you right now, digital press are very aggressive with their prices for the most part.
Yep.
One and two. I think they have their stuff priced 10% below eBay, sometimes 15% below eBay. Pretty much, I would say at least 10%, Paul. You don't agree? For the most part, I think they're pretty decent. I rarely go in and see a game $70 overpriced.
Well, yeah, you're not. I'm just saying you're not going to see a game that's grossly overpriced at digital press. I would say digital press is usually like 90% of the time priced right on the money or below. Anything behind the glass will most of the time be right on the money. Anything that's on the shelves, basically
on the floor,
non-showcase games will be what you said, maybe 10-20% below or something like that, because they want to move that garbage. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But again, my opinion overall, I thought it was not bad. But again, I understand, collectors, people that are looking for deals, they want to get it 15, 20, maybe even 25% below value. So for me, listen, it's 5 minutes from my house. I wish him nothing but the best. The guy seemed like a pretty cool guy. We talked to him for about 15 minutes. I really didn't get a nasty vibe from him. Seemed very friendly. Store was very clean, wasn't cobwebbed up. I did see some stuff that looked dirty as far as systems. So I think that's one thing. We turned around some PS2s and there was a bunch of like dirt and debris and not cobwebs, but like dust.
Dust,
hair balls or whatever. But and then one last thing I'll say is me and Paul, we were looking at, and we noticed that what he does do is he sells systems on just the system base where you don't have to buy the power supply, the AV cable. So that might entice someone that, hey, I need just a PS2. I have the wires at home. My PS2 blew up. I just need the system. Yep. And I think they were priced at $20, $25. So
which was extremely fair.
Right, or a GameCube at, let's say, normally the GameCube Complete is what, 60, 65, where he had just the system, the console, for $40.
In that case, the GameCube one is an extreme example because I'm going to say 60% or more of the value of selling a GameCube with OEM controller is in the controller nowadays.
Oh yeah, the controller's worth $30 alone.
Exactly. I mean, everything you said, I would say is accurate. The only thing that I would need to add on is that I think they definitely are going to have to reprice a lot of showcase things to move them. Because to your point, Mark, you're like, yeah, a collector only wants to pay 10 to 25%. But I think you and I'm going to say several other people at this point I talked to, they're like, to your point, it's like buy your house, but you're not going to pull the trigger at full-blown value unless it's just full-blown value. You're not going to pay more. You're not like crazy.
Oh yeah, no question.
So I think.
Are you going to pay $50 above retail?
No.
I mean, when you can go on eBay and get it for $50 cheaper.
Yeah, no one looking to pay $200 for a single game is going to pay $280 just because it's in front of them. They're going to want to pay $200 or less, and in most cases or less because it's such a high ticket item. I mean, like that's the thing that I think they're going to have to adjust around here. I think they are, they're testing the water, so to speak, to see if shit moves overpriced for the area. Because maybe they think it's like, I don't know, like
a money area.
A money area, exactly. Yeah, pretty much you took the words out of my mouth.
And it is listen, Clark, Cranford, Scotch Plains, the surrounding areas where I live. It's it's a well area. It's I would say middle to upper class.
Westfield area.
Right, exactly. People that again, it's a middle to upper class area. It's a good area.
Yeah, basically, we're not in, Camden here. We're not in the war
Right.
zone. How
Or
about that?
Newark, Newark, Elizabeth, Jersey City, to that
Exactly.
nature. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and you know what? I think one thing I'll comment on, if anything, the only thing I got out of it is I was able to go to a different store and just like I actually just enjoy standing in a store for an hour and just looking at shit and being like, oh, I never saw this trashy $5 game, or I never saw this NES system variant, but I'm not gonna buy it because it's overpriced or in meh condition, not really passing. That's the only enjoyment that I personally got out of it. One thing that I'll also add that you did not comment on is one thing that I see that is lacking at all stores, GameStops included. Um, there was stuff actually set up that people could just play, and it was just a random day. And I don't think it was just because it was like their first weekend open. And granted, they didn't have, usually stores are open for like 1 or 2 weeks, then they have a grand opening like event, quote unquote. But I think that's just the way the guy rolls, that he had 3 arcade games on free play. I think one was just not working because it didn't have a free play option. It was some old game that I can't even think of the name right now. But he had the arcade one up, Star Wars, and he had Asteroids Deluxe Vector Monitor. So I played both of those for like a solid 5 to 10 minutes each. And he had about, I'm gonna say, 6 consoles set up that people could just play. Maybe they weren't on CRTs, they were just on an LCD for convenience. That triggers me. But a random, I don't know, teenager nowadays come in the store will go, hey, I'd never played this original Xbox in my life because I'm 12 or 13 years old, and then they just play it. I actually enjoyed that factor, and granted that costs money. You're leaving a system on for 10 hours a day. It's electricity. That shit ain't given to anybody for free. But I actually kind of like that about the store. There was just something to attract people. I thought that was different. Um, and I thought the employees were helpful to me, at least. I think Mark totally blew my cover. He was like, "Yeah, this Paul. He's a collector. He's a collectard. And he has a bunch of games." And he kind of blew my cover. I was kind of trying just to roll like in there like anybody else and just see how they reacted. But they seem to be helping people, and I guess maybe they'll learn and adjust. But I think the bottom line here is, here's my takeaway, and most of the people listening to this podcast are collectors. I don't think any collectors will shop there, period, after time, because they'll go there maybe like once or twice. They'll scan the store, and then after they go to the store 3 times in a row and they don't buy anything because A, they don't find anything they want, B, everything's overpriced, they'll just stop going. So he's definitely going to have to adjust slightly to the collector market. I think that's my final thoughts on this.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I
Again,
mean, it's
well
good to
lit.
hear that it wasn't a total shit show.
No, it was well lit. Nice, clean store. It wasn't.
That's awesome.
It wasn't like
I was
dingy, dirty.
expecting
You
the
walked in.
worst.
Yeah, from what I was hearing. Yeah, again, we'll see what happens. I agree with Paul. I think he's gonna have to adjust his prices. Some things, it's one thing to be. And I go back to this. It's one thing to be $10, $15 overpriced. It's another thing to be 50, 60, $70 overpriced. Those are two different ends of the spectrum. You can't be $70. If he had that game at 110, 115, you're like, okay, all right. But I mean, to have that game $60 overpriced it's just not going to move. It's going to sit there forever.
Yeah, and then there's the other thing too, like, we were commenting on the pricing. I think, yeah, I think his algorithm is based a little bit on comparing to buy it now prices, what is selling good, because I think his Sega Saturn and Sega Dreamcast stuff was grossly overpriced, because I think that stuff moves for him. Like, I think people from whatever he's tracking in his computer, I think that's what's hot right now. Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast, and maybe some Genesis. I think Sega is hot right now, and I think he is recognizing that, and that's why he's pricing that stuff
But then
so
again, we
much
saw
more.
a Saturn, System Saturn, for I want to say $75,
No,
which
I
seemed
think it was actually $59.99, which is
which
really competitive, actually.
right. I was okay. So let's say that, like, right. So there's okay. There's some gives and takes. I get it, but I agree with you, Paul. Like, if it was $60, you're not. I don't think you're gonna find a Sega Saturn for $60 pretty much anywhere. I want to say it was 75, but yeah, even at 75, I normally see Sega Saturn selling for, I would say, 80, $85 on an average.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Yeah, what the fuck? Saturn systems did go up.
what is this Saturn going for? I could barely see the screen here.
Well, here
What
I'll zoom in
I was
for you.
dead on, $85
Dude,
right
one
there.
sold for $100, a Japanese one 100, American one with two controllers
60 plus
75.
15, 75, right? So between 75 and 85 looks like now is that a Model 2? The Model 1s tend to go a little pricier.
Yeah, I forget. It's just like the ovals on the
The
power button.
oval, right? Exactly, the oval versus the round. But
Here,
again, same
here's a
same
console
system.
that someone just this. First of all, this console I think has an RF adapter, and they paired it with a pseudo Saturn cartridge, which you can get on fucking China for nothing now. Wow, that is an RF adapter. Someone sold a Saturn with an RF adapter and a Chinese pseudo
For a buck
Saturn
50.
for $160. Wow, this just proves that I don't pay attention to the Saturn market right now. And
Wow.
and if a console with a Chinese pseudo cart is
Look,
selling
another
for,
one, $100.
what the hell is going on?
So it looks like a Saturn. Looks like it's averaging between 85 and $100 on average with a controller,
Dude,
some cables, and a power cable. There's another look. Oh, what's
what
that?
the
Another one,
fuck?
150.
Oh, this has a region-free
I
a
was gonna say.
region-free
Okay.
mod on it. Yeah, but
So yeah.
what
So
the
again,
hell?
85 to $100 for a Saturn. So again, $75 for a Saturn was competitive if you're in the market to buy a Sega Saturn system.
And what the hell is this? Here's another one with an RF adapter. What is going on? Why? This is so
Why would you
weird.
even? Can you even use an RF adapter?
Yeah, yeah. There's official RF adapters for Saturn,
Oh,
but I'm
okay.
just like amazed at the ones that sold for like
$80. So
over.
again, yeah.
Again, this sold for $135 shipped. Am I
And I
missing
could tell you,
something?
listen, I could tell you, I sold a Sega Saturn about a month ago. I think I told you, Paul. I was actually someone local, but
This
I had it for $150. But I had Daytona, Virtual Racing, Virtual Fighter. It was like a startup bundle, a sample disc, the instructions, and I think I sold it for like 140. So
that,
yeah,
this this is crazy. Well, I guess I learned something today live on the podcast. Well, there you go. I guess he's trying to move consoles. He doesn't give a shit, and everything else maybe not the case. I mean, crap. I had no idea until right now that there was some weird demand for consoles out of nowhere. Cause
What did you say he was selling them for?
I swear it was $59.99.
I thought I saw
Wow.
75, but either or it was great,
Great
pretty
price.
aggressive on. Yeah,
Yeah, and I said the same about console, the PS2 console only.
it was
Everywhere,
30, right? Or 25.
24.99, and I said to
Yeah,
myself, if I don't have another console because I need two, I'm gonna
and
go there and buy it.
that was the fat ones.
Yep, exactly. And the fat ones have FireWire. All right. And I will
Well, here's
say,
the other thing about that. Hold on.
go for it.
So you get a console. At least this is how I picture. You get a console from Digital Press,
Hmm.
from Leo or Joe.
Yep.
Either one. Like you go walk into a store, you got one of their consoles. You feel like it's going to be pretty clean, probably refurbished, in good shape.
Wiped down,
The
tested.
Yeah, exactly, all that stuff. Now, like, did you get that kind of feeling from
No,
day two?
definitely
That
not.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely not. I think,
Definitely not. I can tell you right now, he's just throwing them. I turned it around. I showed Paul the fan, and it
yeah.
was like it looked like dog hair or just the fur. Like. And I agree with you, Dave. That's a great point to make. You go to Digital Press 1 or 2, and like these systems you're buying are clean. The buttons have been, wiped down, like the crud between the buttons. So, when you turn it on and off, it's going to be smooth. You feel confident that system's in great shape. Maybe not totally refurbed, but at least wiped down and clean. So,
it's not like they're recapping them, but yeah.
Right. So you're not getting something that just came out of someone's garage.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly what it is. Yeah, the second it's traded in, he turns it on, and if it turns on when he tested it when it was traded in, it's going right on the shelf right then. That's the difference. All right, I guess let's move on to the next one. And this was something that I thought was really weird, and I think I briefly mentioned it to you guys. Is we're gonna bring back the topic of WADA games, but where the stupidity is really going now is that people, and I'm bringing up my let's see how I can even do this because I totally forgot. I am, let's see, ending latest, recently added. I don't even remember how to do that on this. But point is what I'm trying to say is that there has been a trend of people buying sealed WADA games that are common sealed games. And what I mean by that is that you can go on eBay right now or even Amazon and purchase that game right then and there, and you have 5 choices to choose from. You could press buy it now, have it shipped to your house, and you have a sealed copy of that game, legit sealed copy. And the example I'm going to use is this one right here, is Perfect Dark, right? Perfect Dark, if you search on eBay, there's a few sold copies, right? And I'm going to say a sealed copy of Perfect Dark, no beat up shit, probably $50 to $60 sealed, believe it or not.
And we're talking N64?
Correct, Nintendo 64, the original
Okay.
release. Let's say it's a good seal. There's no bumps or scratches. There's no dents in the box. And to grade one of these games, and I could be off, but I'm pretty sure it's $35 fucking dollars, right? So that means all in, right? If you're tracking, let's say it's the high end, $60 for the game, $35 to get it graded. That's $95, right? I'm looking at a listing that ended. This ended for shipped let's just say 330, right? So let's just do my math right here on the screen because I'm pretty tired right now.
And then
330
factor in
minus,
fees too.
sure. 330 minus 95. No, I'm saying from a buyer's perspective, right? Not even a seller's. That's a difference of $235 fucking dollars, right? And so what I'm saying is people are just impatient then. Like if you really put in, it'll take time and patience, but if someone bought this game themselves sealed, right? And they stared at the pictures for 10 minutes on eBay and maybe they were dicks and they returned it to the seller if they didn't like it after they got it. Then they sent it to WADA. It takes 3 months, whatever it takes, and then they got it back. That person could have saved $235 fucking dollars. So I'm struggling to understand this. You know what I mean? It just shows that the people that are buying these games are a different breed. You know what I mean? It's one of two things. They're either or a combination of two things. They're collectards. Two, they got so much money to blow and they don't, care and they just don't want to waste their time going through the process that I said. And that's the result. It'd be different if it was a game that's sealed in good condition that you can't go on eBay and you can buy it right now. And I'll bring up an example of that right now, right? So here's a sealed and WADA graded Ninja Gaiden 2, right? Or Ninja Gaiden, depending on who you talk to. I say Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden 2, this sold for $1,026 with $20 shipping.
And that's a common ass game.
No, I'm thinking this is the difference, man. I think this.
This is 2. Okay.
So this is uncommon sealed, I think. So
okay.
Ninja Gaiden, right? I'll disprove it. Ninja Gaiden, I'll say 2 in Roman numerals, NES, right? and then I'm gonna search condition, brand new, right? Looks like one exists on eBay. Here you go. The asking price for this sealed Ninja Gaiden 2 is 2,300, right? Or best offer. But there's only one on eBay. And granted, I'll say this is in pretty decent condition in terms of the box integrity, but the seal looks like complete trash. So it's going to be, even I know this. Like, I'm looking at this, there's fucking holes in the seal. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can see on my screen, but there's a hole in the corner right there. So if someone sent this in and graded it, they'd be wasting their money and time. But here's the difference. This was one that had probably a perfect seal that anyone not even knowing what their standards are, this makes sense. Like if you were a person that was a collectard and B like had money to blow, this makes sense to buy if you really wanted to blow $1,000. Like if you were crazy, you know what I mean? And money was no object. But I'm just trying to point out that this market just drives this thing that's like people are literally starting to buy common as fuck shit. Like for example, I'm saying like I have a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for PS2, right? I have it literally thrown in a bin, and I've changed my mind on it. I thought it was like trash, and I was just gonna sell it. I might actually keep it. I might actually keep it aside now because if later down the line, 5 years ago, people are still paying dumb money
You know what we
for
should do? We
something
should
that's
send that
sealed.
game to get graded. And I have a Castlevania for PS2. We should send both games to get graded and see what just as a
Experiment.
we'll do some independent research.
All right, maybe that's a thing we'll
We'll send
discuss.
both games out. We'll see what the grading comes back as and what we sell them for, and then we can get an idea of the difference.
Well, I have some uncommon PS2 games that are sealed. So
My whole thing with the seal thing is like, how do you send away a game like Flying Squadron and get it graded? Like, I'd be paranoid. They don't get the game. I'd
you
be
just have to
paranoid.
send it insured every time.
I'd be paranoid to send off a game of that magnitude. Yeah, you send over a couple $100 game, one thing, but a couple $1,000 game is a whole nother.
And that's a different thing. For some reason, I think only one. I don't know what the reason is, but I was clicking around on the site one day and how much it costs to grade the games. I think like Nintendo cardboard box shit is like $35 for the slowest time frame. But for some
Right.
reason, Sega CD they make you pay the 75, I think, which is the highest.
Okay.
So if you sent yours and it was sealed, right, it would cost you $75 plus I think you pay for your own shipping and insurance on top of it. That was a factor I
Right.
didn't put in. But still,
Right.
it's different when like you can go like here for example, the other game I was going to bring up, Donkey Kong Land 3. I have no idea what the hell this is, but Donkey Kong Land 3 for Game Boy is one of the most common sealed Game Boy games. I've seen people with like fucking boxes of this game. Don't explain. I can't explain it, but maybe it was a game that was in the
Mass produced.
mass produced and it was late in the life cycle of the regular Game Boy, black and white. Yeah, because look, it's a game that's Super Game Boy, so that's exactly what the time frame was. So I'm sure at that point, no one gave a fuck to play Donkey Kong Land 3, on their black and white Game Boy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Any thoughts on this, Crossan, before we move along? You're awfully quiet. Scaring me, bro.
I don't know, this whole sealed thing, it's just like, it is, I feel like just a whole other level, a whole other group of people that I don't even like comprehend. I can't even like relate to. So yeah, this topic is just kind of triggers me just in fucking general. Like why seal? I mean, the game is already fucking sealed. Why seal it again? Why seal it twice? Stupid. Just play the
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
thing.
yeah. I think it's speculation, man. I think it's
I know what it is, but it just
investing
fucking triggers me, man.
speculation, and I could tell you down the road. I don't know. I mean, people might lose their shirts over this shit. I just don't know what the market's going to do. But it's these comic book collectors moving over, um, buying up all the, like Paul said, buying up all this sealed shit, getting it graded, and again, Perfect Dark sealed, and then sealed again. It's a $50 game, so now it's a $3,000 game because it's sealed twice.
Uh, well, it's one thing that Cross and you actually commented on this in an early episode. It's gonna be here. It's it's definitely gonna be here to stay in some capacity because, like I said, CGC. There's multiple grading companies for comic books, and CGC is the leader. I forget the other one that I see. It's like PGX. I could be making this up. I haven't looked at comic books in a long time. But there are like a few companies that grade like and like I don't know, put in capsules like sealed vintage figures and they grade them. But that I never see that like mainstream at all, but it does exist. But I think just in the way that this is going, and they are scamming the mainstream news, I guess, news places really hard because they keep, doing headlines on their websites and video segments on this. Collectors spending all their money on sealed shit. I mean, it's going to stay because I can say probably in 5 years from now, when we go to too many games, there's not going to be one guy with a bunch of WADA shit. I'm going to say every dealer will have
Yeah,
behind their table
some sort of selection.
some sort of selection of graded shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'll probably have it too. And what I think is going to happen in 5 years, in 5 years or more, we'll finally have a census on the sealed games, and then maybe my speculation will be right or wrong of that there are sealed games coming out of the woodwork, or there really are only 25 sealed copies of Ninja Gaiden 2 left on the planet. You know what I mean?
Now, is it only sealed copies, or
No, they
can you
do
grade?
both.
So you could grade open copies?
You can, but no one is focusing on that right now. They're just
Right.
focusing on the sealed because basically they're saying the sealed is the mint of the mint, the rare of the rare. It's basically like a 9.8 CGC comic book, or in this case, like a
You better
9.
hope you have an original seal. How do you know it's not a reseal?
Exactly.
And there's a freaking a pile of Monopoly money in the middle of the box.
Yep. And
People are gonna. I mean, you're sitting there thinking this is a Grail, and you got some shit and inside the box. You'll never know that it's horse shit.
absolutely. And there's been a lot of videos on that too where someone bought, some sealed games, like someone buys sealed Final Fight. They looked at the seal in person and then they got a refund on eBay because they knew it was fucking fake. And then they opened it and then there was like, I don't know what they said. There was like the inserts were missing, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. So basically it's like, yeah, what you're saying is true.
Yeah, because like I have a copy of Earthworm Jim 2 for Sega Genesis sealed, and I'm gonna be honest. I feel I don't know. I just feel like there's something off about it. Do I want to open it? No, because I have another copy I can play, but it's sealed, and I feel like I don't know if it's legit. If it's not, my gut feeling tells me it's a reseal. Maybe I have to get a little more of an expert on it, but again, I hear the cartridge, moving around a little bit inside. It's one of the cardboard boxes, it's not a clamshell. So who knows? I mean, what's inside there?
Well, I guess we'll see as this shit evolves. All right, let's go to the next one. And this is kind of a two-parter. Um, I'm going to comment on one aspect of this, and then we'll comment on another, and I'll do the first aspect. And this is about Wonderful 101, which was originally a Wii U exclusive. It's getting a remaster, and at this time so
Kickstarted
far,
remaster.
yes, it's a Kickstarted remaster,
Triggered.
and that means a lot of things. The first thing is, one, again, it's no longer a Wii U exclusive, obviously.
Or
Two,
Nintendo exclusive.
oh yeah,
For
there you
that
go.
matter.
Triggered. And then on top of it, um, let's just talk about Wii U as well for a second. There's I think maybe a handful of games that are truly exclusives now after they've released everything on Switch or other platforms. And you can even argue if Zombie U or Zombie or whatever you want to call it, I think it's a Zombie U, is technically exclusive because it doesn't have like the Wii U gamepad stuff. But in the case of let's first comment on that. First of all, a Kickstarter and Wii U exclusive dying. What do you think of that? What does that mean for the future of Wii U with all those collectors that did a full set and shit? Do you think it's going to be worth garbage down the line, or you think it's just going to be like collecting for the Wii, where there's like a few games worth like maybe $100, and then most of the games are worth like $15 or less? Like, what do you guys think of the end of Wii U exclusiveness or whatever exclusivity? There you go.
Well, for the people who collected the Wii U full collection, I hope they enjoyed doing it because
Sure.
it's not going to be, I don't know. Unless it becomes like one of those kind of like obscure things. But even now, outside of like the TurboGrafx, I'm trying to think of like an obscure system where the games are just like astronomically expensive, like Neo Geo, Turbo. I don't see it being on that kind of level.
Saturn, even Saturn.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see it because you can get the games one-to-one exactly in another platform.
Right. I think you nailed it, Dave.
Yeah, I just don't think Wii U collecting is. I don't know. Exactly. I just hope that people had fun doing it because it's not going to be valuable or anything like that. They're
Right. If you want it for you, it's fine,
Switch.
Yeah. But if you want it for a value standpoint, forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just nailed it again. I was going to add to what you said. I think the Switch killed Wii U collecting because everything was essentially ported over.
Yeah. There's only a few games now. I mean, there's what, like, as far as like games that everybody kind of recognizes, like there's Devil's Third, there's Pikmin 3, I guess like Nintendo Land.
Super Mario 3D World, I guess, is left.
Yeah.
Game and Wario or Wario. I can't think of anything else.
It's not a lot.
DuckTales.
No.
Well, it was on the PS3, right?
But that was on PS3 and Xbox 360 and everything else.
Right. It was a bunch of. Yeah, I mean, again, if you want it just for you, but as far as a value standpoint, I see it being worth shit down the road.
Well,
I just don't see people really wanting it.
Well, here's an aspect, and I'll be honest, I've never played Wonderful 101. I have it sitting downstairs. I bought it used. I probably bought it for like $8 at GameStop or something like that, or less, bundled
Yes,
with some
same.
deal. But the point is that I even sold I had a sealed copy of this, and I sold it for, I think at least like $40 or something. But I guess thank God I sold that. But the thing is that I guess the only thing that might be the only exclusive factor is the controls, because as far as I know, the Wii U gamepad was considered for this game and like a big part of it. I could be wrong, could be totally fucking wrong, but I think that's like the only thing that's left. Like someone could say, "Oh, when you did the gamepad, Wii U gamepad, that was what really made it a Wii U game."
Right, some sort of motion or something.
Exactly. Like playing Zombie U, like I'll be honest, you should try that game. Playing that was a launch game for the Wii U. It's actually pretty cool. Certain scenes and how they used the gamepad, because you have to like hold it in front of the screen and stuff, like the see-through
Right.
shit. Maybe it's like your flashlight, like stuff like that, and it really becomes like interactive. Um, but yeah, let's move on to the second part that's really triggering me. And this is related to Wonderful 101 as well as all Kickstarter games that have a physical game, because it's happened to me more than once, because I used to back um, any Kickstarter that had a physical copy as I guess whatever they call it, your pledge gift or whatever. In this case, it's happening again. And I'm looking at it right now, and it says A physical release of the Wonderful 101 remastered is about US $41. And I swear I clicked on that before. It says about $47. So it's going to be about $47 to back this game. And according to this, yep, so total amount $47 to get a copy of this on Switch or PS4 as of now. The problem that has come up is that the only thing that you usually get with this is that you get maybe an exclusive cover or a slip cover. And in the case of most of these games, actually I want to see, I'm going to do a control find for cover. It says special backers only Kickstarter exclusive cover. And here's the thing, they'll say this, and I guarantee you that probably in this scenario, Limited Run is going to be doing this, and they're going to do the cover. I would be surprised otherwise, but I guess we'll see what happens. But the problem with this is you're paying full-blown retail for this, and
Premium.
a premium, and I get it that you are like backing the game to support it to make sure it happens, but here's the scam part of it. The only goal was $50,000, and what that means is maybe that was to cover their publishing costs. Like, they knew before this Kickstarter even went up that we are releasing this game.
Oh, yeah.
We are doing it. It's in development, blah, blah, blah. Like, the game's probably already like 75% through development at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's a remaster. It doesn't fucking take a lot, you know, to my knowledge, to do a remaster nowadays if you have the assets, you know. In this case, it's Platinum Games. They were probably ready to fucking go. And that's where the scam comes in. It was only $50,000. And meanwhile, when this game drops, two fucking things will happen. This will be I think, I'll take it back. I don't think this is going to be a limited run release. I think it's good. They made so much money on this, and it's literally growing by the second as I watch
And I
this
don't
live.
understand, the whole thing is, okay, the Nintendo Switch release at $50,000.
Sure.
PC version at $250,000.
Uh-huh.
PS4 version at $500,000. Why? I don't understand that.
The only thing I can think of is to justify the demand for licensing, release, and
Is it
a
that
physical.
much more expensive than
No.
producing Switch cartridges?
Maybe
I would imagine Switch cartridges are probably even more expensive
PS4
than printing.
from a physical perspective, it's more expensive. Maybe they always had maybe they just had planned it initially to do Switch. Like all of this, I think most of this is done in Unreal. I don't know what it was developed in, like, and I think a lot of that is easily portable. So it's like Unreal Engine 4 or something. I think it was just to justify to like the company to say, oh, there's a demand for this. So let's actually take the time to do the miniature amount of extra dev work to port it. I think that's what it is. Not even the physical aspect. But what I was touching on before is that this game I think is going to be like a wide release on Amazon, GameStop, Best Buy, whatever. And even though it says it's $47, I swear I think this game is going to come out at $29.99 in the store
With slipcover.
with
So-
whatever the fuck comes with it.
Right.
physically.
So in the end, what are your, Dave, you as well, you know, you and Paul, what are your thoughts? Because I haven't supported any Kickstarters ever. So what are
Oh,
your
I'm
thoughts
pissed.
in general for
Well, that's what
because in
I
general
texted
of
Paul earlier
Kickstarters
today.
where
This is
the
exactly what I
people
said.
that support it get screwed.
Oh, I think it's complete shit. Dude,
You're paying a premium more than anyone else. Everyone else is getting the same shit as you, and they're paying $10 cheaper.
yeah, it really fucking irks me because not only the fact that I could have just waited for it to release, the other thing that is really also kicking the balls is anytime I back this, I either got it late, after. Oh my God, it happened today. I usually get the backer copy late compared to if I ordered it direct from Limited Run or I ordered it from like Amazon or something. There
Right.
was a game, Children of Zodiacs for PS4. I
Okay.
shit you not. I actually did a dumb collect hard moment. I ordered it again on Limited Run, thinking it was going to be a different cover. Two things that pissed me off. One, I think I have two copies of the same exact game with the same exact cover. Two, I got the backer one, the one that was shipped to backers, literally 2 or 3 weeks after. So that is completely ass backwards. If you were the backer of the game, you should be the first fucking group of people to have the
To
physical
receive it.
correct. And so that proves like you're literally just being ripped off at that point. And
So going forward, are you
no,
think you're not going to support any more
never
Kickstarters?
again.
Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that like they'll say these timelines and then you won't even get it. So like I've been fucked on some Kickstarters where some people have not sent me shit, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get it. I'm not gonna lie.
Was it Bloodstain that you got it? Or no, it was something that had a slip cover. I
It's just
noticed you were a little
Bloodstained.
upset.
Yeah,
Well, it was
it
right.
was Bloodstained and Shenmue, and in this case,
Okay, gotcha.
Bloodstained and Shenmue, I think I paid over. I think I close to $70 shipped for each one.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
and the only it was the actual game itself was exactly the same as retail, and they just threw a slipcover over both of the games.
Yeah,
And the funnier thing was, they were so lazy when they shipped the Shenmue, the slipcover wasn't even on the game. It was just flat in a fucking package. So they just printed a bunch of slipcovers and threw it
and
in the
throw 'em,
package
man.
and said, "Here you go, you fuck. Enjoy
Thanks
it."
for supporting it.
Yeah. Thanks for taking the ass. And
I'm
oh,
triggered.
and on Shenmue, the funnier fucking thing was that game was discounted literally 2.5 weeks.
That was two, right?
Yeah, Shenmue 3.
Oh, three.
It was discounted on Black Friday to $29.99.
Yep, that's when I got it.
Yep. And it hasn't been cheap. Actually, amazingly, it hasn't been cheaper than that since, besides used. So that was like a true Black Friday deal. But
Right.
perfect example, like if you just have some patience, these games are going to end up on the store shelves anyway,
On clearance.
on clearance, and you're wasting your money. It'd be different if like the goal on this was 500,000. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if this goal was 500,000, and I guess that's why I backed Shenmue and Bloodstain, because apparently like they were saying it wasn't going to be made. But come on, if I am the one receiving the game late and I'm paying that much of a premium, that's a kick in
Right.
the nuts.
And,
I'm
and
sorry.
and the kick in the nuts is when you see someone on Facebook posted up that they got it for $20 cheaper than you,
Yep.
and they have it 2 weeks before you get your copy, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so triggering. I get it. I've never supported it. I refuse to, but I know you and David done it a few times.
And
Yeah, I did it with Shenmue, and I didn't even mind that, like, the other retailers, whatever, got it cheaper afterwards, just because that game wouldn't have even existed in the first place if people like us didn't put our money in years and years ago. Whereas something like the Wonderful 101 pisses me off. That shit was going to happen regardless because it's already been made. It's a remaster. Like, Shenmue 3 we kind of like willed into existence, whereas like this other shit already kind of exists. You know what I mean?
So triggered.
Yeah. So that's what I tell myself with Shenmue 3, even though, obviously it sucks that it was only $30 afterwards, whatever. But you know what? That game wouldn't have even had the opportunity to pay $30 or whatever for the game if we hadn't done that in the first place.
Right.
all right. Well, here I'll go to the next topic, and it is about limited games. And I thought this was interesting. We didn't comment on this, and this is kind of old news. I'm gonna see if it actually sold. Nope, it's still here. Someone is selling a complete limited run collection for PS4. So that means every game for PS4 and PSVR. It'll be a mix. I think it's every standard, and maybe some extra collector's editions. but it might be a mix of like maybe he splurged on some collector's editions. And it's crazy. He actually put in the video game price charting value in his list to justify his price, right? All the work is here. I'm actually pretty impressed. Yep, he has the full inventory, and he's asking um, $10,000 shipped. Then there's make offer on it, of course. In fact, out of curiosity, I'm going to copy and paste his little report here and see what the true value is to see if he, even based on his own information, that he's asking for exactly what it's worth or some other shit. So I'm going to go into good old Excel here real quick. And
The problem with that is how many people you think are going to drop 10K on a set? I mean, it's just, you probably have a better chance of
People
selling.
collect WADA.
Yeah, right.
Because they're all
Yes.
sealed.
Right.
These games are all sealed.
Just ship it direct to them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then next thing you know, that guy's putting it up for 40K. Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder what the percentage of limited run games out there that are sealed. It's probably got to be like at least 85%.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So here we go. The exact video game price charting data, but he did admit it's a mix of video game price charting plus or lowest buy it now on eBay. So what the fuck is that? Choose one or the other, you know? So he is mixing it up with lowest buy it now. I don't. So
Okay.
yeah. So there's a mix of data. It's not actually what it's worth if he's doing lowest buy it now.
I say we put it to what he paid for it.
Yeah, that'd be a totally different value then. Because
Yeah,
I'm gonna say he lost on some of these, and others he broke even, and others they're worth more than what he paid.
So let's say he paid 30. How many games are there, Paul? Does it say how many games?
It says first 200 games.
All right. So 200 games. What's 35 times 200? That's what he paid.
You think some are, I thought, more expensive because he has CEs.
Oh, all right. I thought
So
it was all
I'll do
standards.
35 times 200 is 7K.
Right. So that's stand. I'm just going all standards.
All right. Yeah, I would say you're right. Probably it is 7K. So he's probably asking technically a 2,000, he's asking a $3,000 premium. He's asking 10,000, but literally in his own data, it's saying it's only worth $9,042.92.
Right. And he put 10,000 because someone's going to go down 1,000 and he wants 9,000. So
he wants,
if he puts 9,000, someone's going to drop him to 8,000. So he's playing the game. We all play the game.
yeah. So basically, he's looking for 9, and he's playing the offer game right now. You know, so probably in the end, when he sells this after fees, he will break even. He'll just get his money back. That's what's going to happen on this.
Right.
So any more comments and thoughts on this? Because this is, I think, the first gross instance of this happening, where someone's just offloading the full. It's not the full set. Let me clarify. He says complete.
Right.
It's the first 200. So he
then
stops.
he got out. Right.
Yeah, he stops somewhere.
I think at this point,
I mean,
people. Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
If he can get out now, good for him. Because, I don't know. I feel like half the stuff that I bought from Limited Run is just garbage, trash. It's never going to get opened. It's never going to get used. It's just fucking garbage games that I bought because I'm an idiot.
He has some pretty big promises in this listing too. Each game is brand new, sealed, no tears in wrapping or dents in cases. Includes all postcards, trading cards, and stickers with each game. Every standard includes a plastic protective sleeve. Includes the entire Jack Trilogy collectors, Shenmue 3 collectors. Will ship carefully packaged in several boxes with signature confirmation. So he's paying extra for the insurance and signature. Please ask if you like specifics. Sold as is, no returns. I'll play a game. I'm gonna send him an offer for. I'll send him an offer for 4,000 or something, and just get it declined. But you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I just want to know why. Like, what's the game plan there? Like, again, I buy mostly. I can't really complain because I buy what I want to play. For the most part, I have double dipped, obviously, to cover the cost of mine. I mean, we've all done it, but for the most part, I really don't pertain or grab anything off of, especially now. When they went to the pre-order, I just was like, you know what's the incentive there? It's pointless. But I'm only going to grab what I want to play. The rest, I just don't give two shits about.
Oh, there's the infamous Lawbreakers and Wonder Boy and Ease Origin. I think everybody and their mother owns a copy of those CEs.
Right. They just made 1 million of them.
The Lawbreakers one.
Right. The servers were down by the time you got the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I ordered that one. I got fucked there, and I think I only ordered it because I had to order it in a pack to get the other CE at the time, which I believe
So triggered.
I forget what the other game was anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right, Crossan. It is a bunch of garbage. But I will say, if you do order this now, you'll get $100 in eBay bucks. So
There you go. You can buy more limited run stuff.
there you go, more trash. So here's the next limited run topic. There was 2 games released, Poop Slinger and Revenge of the Bird King. Now,
Oh, man.
Poop Slinger, for those who don't know, was apparently a April Fool's joke done by Limited Run under the, I guess, identity Limited Rare Games. They claim it's not them, but everyone knows it's them. There's no way that someone could do what they did and, I guess know how to do it, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, they're claiming that only 84 copies were shipped. I think it's actually true that they only shipped 84 copies, but the crazy factor of this is like the limited, I think, print for a PS4 game is 1,000 copies. So that means on both of these games there's 1,000 copies of each, but they've only released maybe a few hundred to the public or friends and family. And the crazy thing is, I believe Poop Slinger now is selling for about, I think, $1,000. Poop Slinger PS4. And I think Revenge of the Bird King is selling for about, I'm going to say, 300.
They got to be selling them to themselves.
Exactly. So these, I think, are complete bullshit.
1,800?
I think that's a bullshit listing. So someone's just trying to drive up the value. So here's the other thing. I think these 2 are real, the 1,048 and the 900. I know 2 people that sold a copy. Here's Lindsay. Here's Lindsay's copy. She sold one for $750. She got out early November 15th. She held on to a while. And I think another friend's close to 1,000. So let's just say for shits and giggles, because I see 1,900, 1,750. This is worth $900, right? Reality. But I think this is just Limited Run doing a listing, buying it from themselves, paying the fees to eBay just to drive up the value to $1,800. And here's
Really? You really think that?
absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I have no clue.
Yep.
Who the fuck else who's buying this shit? At
Morons.
those prices. At those
Morons.
prices, it's crazy.
Mentally ill people.
People that are living in apartments, taking the bus to work.
Yeah. Well, there's that and it's, you know what it is? It's an extreme level. I have the bug myself. It's a mental fucking illness. It's called it really is. No, I'm gonna actually have some commentary on it. It's really a mental illness, and it's truly a degree of OCD. That's all it is. Obsessive compulsive disorder, to the fact that you need something that is 100% complete with no fucking fuck ups of anything, and
That no one else has.
correct. And you want it in perfect condition. It's new sealed, and it's all it comes down to. And usually what happens to these people that buy these games, they have OCD, so they stare at it, they salivate, they think about it, they dream about it, blah blah blah. Then they finally pull the trigger and spend fucking $1,000 on a complete trash PS4
Game that they're never gonna play.
Correct. And at that point, they at that point they have buyers regret. They have regret. They go through it. Maybe they post it on Facebook, some forum. People fucking make fun of them, and then they have terrible thoughts. But it's the reality. I'm just painting a picture of what the brutal reality is. It's between this game and the other game. But the thing is that Limited Run still has, let's say, 800 copies of this game sitting in fucking boxes.
What do you think they're gonna do? Just trickle them out?
Exactly. I firmly fucking believe that they are just going to list these one by one on eBay slowly over time for the next few years. And the other thing is, because they're sitting on these games that are apparently worth $900 cash, they're going to use them as a form of payment to not only their own employees, but to themselves or to friends, family, or publishers as incentives. They'll be like, hey, publisher that is on the edge of making a physical game with us. By the way, just because we like you, here's a copy of Poop Slinger. It's the rarest fucking game on PS4. In reality, it's not rare at all because they have 800 copies in a fucking closet. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're gonna do. They fucking are creating
Scarcity.
yeah, and they're literally just abusing it as far as they can. Like, but think about how crazy that is. That's basically like printing fucking money. And let me just paint a picture for you right now. Let's say those 800 copies. Let's just say this, right? Let's say they printed 1,000. I'm going to do some numbers for you guys real quick. They only released apparently 84, right? So let's say 1,000 minus 84 is 916, right? So there's 916 copies that someone was sitting on, and they're worth $900 cash.
It's like $80,000.
800,000. So that means
All right, that's what I meant.
that's
Yeah.
824,000.
It's almost $1 million.
Exactly. $1 million. This is the biggest fucking scam ever fucking orchestrated by, I think, anybody.
Yeah, but who do you blame? I mean, you blame them or you blame the people actually dropping 800 on this garbage?
I blame them and I blame Sony. Because Sony is not restricting them that they have to sell it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so they can hoard it.
Correct. There is some loophole in some, like, know what that means, fucking Mark? Let me put it this way. If I went to my job and spent every fucking minute of my life trying to figure out how they do this, right? Replicate what they do, right? Find a publisher to make some fucking shit-ass game that takes them a week to put together, right? And it just goes through whatever submission process in Sony, right? And it's on the PSN store for a penny. And then I get the rights to publish it physically. I contact Sony. I throw them whatever the fuck it costs. I think it costs about $15K, right? I think that sounds right. Because $15K, what is that? Isn't that $15 each? Yeah. So let's say it is $15 each to make a copy, right? So, yeah, exactly. It's $15,000. So let's say you have $15K, right? And then you threw $15K at this to print it. Let's even say you pay the developer maybe another $15,000. I don't know. I'm just making this shit up. $15,000 for the game development and to get it on Sony. That's $30,000, right? But meanwhile, you hold on to 916 copies and they're worth $825,000, right? Doing the math right there, that's $800K. That means that you basically orchestrated a way to make $800,000, maybe slowly over the course of a few years. I don't give a fuck who you are. That's $800,000. I'm so triggered just even thinking about this. No, I'm serious. It's the biggest fucking scam. And there's like a few mouth breathers on Facebook myself included, I classify myself as a dirty mouth breather. But they're just like, like like talking about this on Facebook and shit. But and maybe there's some YouTube videos on this that have gone up. But this is a scam. And in fact, Metal Jesus Rocks has made videos on this. You know why he made a video on this? I'll,
I'd have to check that out.
but Mark, I said it. He made a video on this because the fucking maker, the limited run owners, Doug and Josh, gave Metal Jesus a copy of this to make a video to basically continue to
Hype
hype
it.
it up. Yeah. And I don't think this is bullshit. I think this is 100% real. There you go. There's my long ass rant. I am truly fucking triggered. I can't even fucking think right now that someone, you know what? I gotta give it to them. They're smart motherfuckers to orchestrate this and go through it, and somehow they probably had a lawyer look over the contract for printing a game with Sony, and I guarantee you Sony fucked up, and they don't have to. They can hold on to it personally if they want. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
Oh, if they did. I mean, it's genius. I mean, that's elaborated, essentially.
Sort of evil
scheme,
genius,
you know?
but yeah, I
Right.
mean, it would work. Fuck.
Yeah. So I guess I'm saving 30K. I guess so I can pay some developer to make some shit ass fucking game, publish it.
We're
on
gonna have the
PSN.
sequel. The sequel, Diarrhea Slinger.
Yeah. I'm gonna call it Barf Bopper. Okay. I think.
Booger Picker.
All right. So here's my final topic. It is. I guess I'm like obsessed with limited games. I am. I'll admit. The last one is that there are a few limited run games that are not worth trash apparently, and they are horror games. And one was Layers of Fear for PS4. I was like, holy fuck, when did that jump up? And here, I'll do the sold. I want to see what it is now. I thought it was like over
You're
100.
saying they're not worth shit, or they are
They
worth
they
shit?
are worth something. So this
Uh,
game with bids, the last one sold for over $100. And I think to order this, I think it was only $29.99.
$35. Yeah.
Yeah, 35. The normal $35. So I guess what I want to talk about is this is actually. I think this was an actual limited game. It was not open pre-order, by the way.
Right.
I think they only made, and I'll look that up, a few thousand copies. So what are your thoughts on this, that it is going both ways? And is there any limited run games that you think you missed out on that are now like worth, 100, 150 or something like that?
Well, I missed out on the first Breach and Clear. That's the only one that used to piss me off.
Yeah, that's
But
one.
that's
I would say
that's it.
most people missed out on that.
Yeah.
What about you, Mark?
Well, I mean, yeah, from a value standpoint, I guess you could say you missed out on it. But again, it's also, how do you know what's going to be what, And a good point to what you just said is that one was truly limited. Let's be honest. Now these games, they've changed their business model. It's pre-order. So they could make 10,000 copies of these games. And I think that's what, when they change their business model, I don't think you're going to see as many games that are going to do, essentially what this game is doing, or we're, Breach and Clear, some of the earlier titles. I mean, look at the shit fiasco that happened with Night Trap, right? And then, initially with that Night Trap release, those, they were selling for $100, $150 for a standard copy. And now it's kind of like leveled off, and, you could probably get a standard copy for $60 or something. But, people were, sending death threats, because they the servers crashed, they couldn't get a copy, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. But again, I think you're going to see less and less games hit this type of plateau. And another reason is there's no such thing as limited anymore, because another publisher could simply buy the rights and print that game 2 years later down the road. And what are you going to do? Nothing. Your game essentially is going to become worthless. So, again, I just focus on what I want to play, what has a nostalgia feel for me. I got Dragons. I got what does it say?
Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, Space Ace. I enjoy PS4 copy of that. I was happy to get that. I'll
Oh,
get what I
that's a
want.
great release actually.
Right, exactly. So, I'm going to get the things that, I feel like I want, that I really want to play or things that are close to me. But again, for a value standpoint, I really don't give a shit. If it goes up, great. If it doesn't, whatever. But I think you're just going to see less and less with these open pre-orders. Is it 1 or 2 weeks? Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks open pre-orders for every release at this point.
I believe you're right. It is 2 weeks at the minimum, sometimes almost up to a month.
Right. So, some games could sell 10,000 copies, 15,000 copies. And, again, it's great if you want to play the game, if you want to own it. But I think the only games you're going to see hit this type of plateau is, the earlier releases, the prior to the pre-order business model.
True, true. Yeah, well, this is all some interesting thoughts on it. It is a little bit all over the place. I mean, obviously these limited physical releases are here to stay. Someone made like a infographic on it. I think there's like 10 companies doing limited physical releases for either
Well,
PS4 and or I think Switch right now.
right.
Anybody can do it apparently. So it's like just goes to prove that it's obviously not that hard. If I guess if you looked it up online, Googled, looked at Sony, blah blah blah, the requirements.
Yeah, and if anyone can do it, is it truly limited?
No, I guess it's not. To your point, you made the point that there's no such thing as sometimes they don't strike an exclusive deal and someone could just reprint it. Like there's a few instances that you know even counting the same I think even counting the same region games were printed. I mean it happened to Limited Run. Fucking Wonder Boy. They printed that
Exactly.
they printed that game. It was a limited run and then there was a wide release. And I was like, what the fuck?
And then Best Buy selling it.
Exactly.
So again, exactly to my point. So if you're buying the games for, again, from a value standpoint, I just think those days are long gone. Um, so I'm gonna stick to just buying what I want to play essentially.
All right. Well, on that note, we hit over an hour, and I think I'm really triggered just talking about all this shit.
You were salivating there for a minute on that last
Oh
topic.
yeah, that one really pisses me off, dude. All right. Well, on that note, this is um, Dave, Mark, and Paul signing off for Trigger Tuesdays on February 4th.
All right, guys, leave your comments. We want to hear what you say, what you have to say about some of these topics. Until next week.
I'm leaving to go get more triggered.